All right, everybody, this is Chris with Drop Dice. So this week we're finally here with Legend of the Five Rings. I've been talking about it for a while, so this is kind of our first game here. I showed you guys the set before, and I forgot to make the video talking about how to basically play the game, so as we play, I'll kind of explain it as we go. Let's go ahead and introduce the cast and who they are and what they do. If you're tuning into my channel, I have my Twitter underneath my name as well for Drop Dice Blog. You can check it out on there. Once these videos go live, you'll be able to catch updates on there and on my YouTube channel as well. Let's go ahead and start with Murdoch, who's playing Kikita Toshiro.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hi, I'm Murdoch. I'm playing Kikita Toshiro, like he said. I am. My character is the son of Kikita Samu. Make sure you watch the video on the introductions done by Drop Dice. He's really good at that. Out of game, I disabled combat vet. I play a lot. I also have a Twitch channel where I do a lot of Let's Plays for different games on PS, Xbox, and computer. And that's basically my lame self.
And in the description for this video, we'll include a link to that Twitch channel in case you're interested in checking his stuff out. He also runs with the VGL guild on Star Wars The Old Republic, so if you're looking for a guild, I know that they're always looking for fresh blood. All right, next up, let's go ahead and talk to Tom, playing Miyamoto Kaji.
Hey, I'm Tom. So yeah, in this game, I'll play Miyamoto Kaji, who is a Dragon Clan Bushi, specializing in the two-sword style. Out of game, I work for Muse Games down in New York City. They develop a little game called Guns of Icarus Online, a multiplayer airship combat game. You and other people online can jump on an airship and try to shoot other airships out of the sky. I'm pretty proud of it, so check it out.
All right, thanks for that, and I'll include a link for that as well in the description. Next up, we have Nate playing Yoko Shinsai. As I catch him in the middle of a drink there.
Hello, my name is Nate. Today I have a cold, so you get to enjoy me in my nasally voice. I'm playing Yogo Shinsai, who is a Bushi of the Scorpion clan, specializing in ward magics and defensive magics. Out of game, I'm a line cook at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, and I'm the best at what I do at my job. Otherwise, I'm pretty boring.
That one I'm not including inside the description. You either know what it is, or you find out on your own.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse not to know what Five Guys is.
There's excuses, but you know I won't go into that.
There are more Five Guys in California than there are In-N-Outs, and that's where In-N-Outs started.
That doesn't mean that it's better, though. That's a whole different thing. All right, so next up is Jeremy playing Komori Dietrich.
Hi, Jeremy here. Yeah, as you said, I'm playing Komori Dietrich. Dietrich is a Bushi of the Yoritomo Mantis School. He's from the Bat Clan originally, but as you know, the Bat Clan only has Shugenja, so he's training with the Mantis Clan. He has a Gaijin name, if you noticed. His grandfather is Volker Weiss. He's from a far-off land called Eisen. Outside of the game, I just do retail work. I work for Staples retail store, basic, store lackey. Nothing special there. Other than that, I just hang out with these fools.
All right, thank you. And the next up is going to be Brendan playing C. Tsubasa.
Hello, I'm Brendan. I'm that one guy who has never played in the system before, so please bear with me. I'm playing Tsi Tsubasa. He is a craftsman of the Sea family tradition. They specialize in crafting the greatest swords in the Empire for very many hundreds of years, and he is starting his own quest to create his masterpiece.
All right, perfect. So just to give kind of everybody a heads up as far as what's going on, the year that we decided to pick out to play in is 1200. Essentially, Iwako the First has decided to pick out her heir, which is going to be the younger son, and that'll happen in game as we start to see things. But things are a little bit different than traditional Legend of the Five Rings. Shadowlands Taint has previously in 4th edition been played as kind of like an infectious thing that could be gathered. Now, because the year that we're playing in, it's no longer like that, and you have to succumb yourself to it. The way Shadowlands Taint works is it's kind of like an evil taint from the Jigoku, which is the realm of the dead. So that's kind of a reoccurring concept that you guys will see inside the world and everything. Big important events for the world, as far as anybody who might be sort of familiar with the world or not. There's a clan that was recently elevated to Great Clan status called the Spider Clan, and the Spider Clan, because of their elevation and status, have gotten a little bit of concern from the other great clans. The Spider Clan has some background where they used to be in the Shadowlands, and because of it, they're not necessarily trusted by anyone at this point, and they've got a lot to prove. And so you may see some Spider NPCs in the world that the players will get to interact with. And as I mentioned, we're going to kind of talk about basic mechanics. The basic mechanic behind Legend of the Five Rings is what's called roll keep. Essentially, their stats will tell them how many dice they have to roll and how many they have to keep. On a 10 or above, or well, it's D10, so really on the 10, it explodes, and that number basically compounds. So if you roll a 10 and you get an 8, that new number is actually an 18, and then it goes towards your total. And then they get to add all that together, and that gives them their total number, which will be compared to a target number, or DC in other games. And that's kind of the basics of it. However, for combat, what they can do is wager that they will do better. So essentially, let's say Kakita Toshiro happens to be in combat and says, I want to spend 3 raises to try and disarm someone. Well, that means he has to get their target number plus 5 times 3 raises. So let's say the target number is 10 to begin with. He gets to add another 15 to it, so his new target number is 25, which will allow him to disarm. And that's kind of the basics of the game. It works similar to other games with stunts, except for you're investing before you necessarily roll dice. So it's always kind of like a betting against yourself kind of a thing, which is why they call it raises. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start things off. So right now you guys are in the main empire here. I went ahead and showing everybody the map here. So this is the Scorpion Lands that we were talking about right here. My players are actually going to be over here on I-16 area. There's a little bit of land that I just kind of selected out and expanded. Because I didn't want to color in this map, I just kind of added outlines, but the Crane lands have kind of extended. But I-16 is what's a city called Toshi Rambo. And the basic premise is that you guys have all been invited to Toshi Rambo as Shiken, or basically ambassadors to the area to try and stop a war that is happening between, or a war that's pending to happen, I should say, between the Lion and the Crane. You all also have some ulterior motives that were explained during your introduction videos. Some of that stuff you guys helped me out with, and some of that stuff is stuff I've added. So hopefully everybody's all caught up on that stuff. Can I get a thumbs up if you guys caught your own videos and understand everything? Awesome. Perfect. All right. So for our guests that are viewing this one, make sure you check out those videos because they do have some stuff inside there that will be coming up as kind of important things inside the world. All right, so let's go ahead and get everything set up here. So when you guys arrive to Toshi Rambo, the city is a little bit different than a normal Ryukugan city. Essentially, there is the main keep that is set up inside there, but the city is almost divided evenly where the houses are set up. And unlike a normal Ryukugani city where it's surrounding the keep, it's all on one side. The keep is on the northmost portion of the city, and the houses are kind of southerly. And then they're divided directly in half. There's pretty much an even amount of buildings and square footage on each side. For our crane member here, you'll know that the reason for that is because Toshi Rambo has been divided and passed around between the Lion and the Crab for so long that it's actually part of the design, so that if it's ever shared land, they can share it but still have the land be kind of divided amongst the clans. It's equal but separate kind of a deal. So you guys will arrive to the keep itself. You are being expected, since you are here as advisors, basically. for peace. Once you arrive, you'll actually be greeted by a gentleman who he's a little bit odd when you first meet him. He is an older gentleman. He's a little balding, and he's got kind of like this big liver spot kind of on his forehead, which is a little distracting, to be honest, but you guys are all good, noble samurai and won't let that bother you too much, at least to his face. He takes you to your rooms, and because he's a servant, he never really gives you his name. He just tells you that Lord Odomo is actually in attendance with some villagers right now. He will be seeing you later this evening once all Shiken have arrived. The first to arrive is Kikita Toshiro. Since this is a keep and it is considered a time of peace but turmoil, you are allowed to carry your wakizashi, but your katana, they give you a sword stand for you.
As a point of reference, Toshiro does not carry a katana.
Okay.
He does have a wakizashi, and he does carry a a bamboo folding chair.
Okay. So they're fine with you carrying the wakizashi. They have no clue what the chair's about, so they're not really going to say anything because it would be rude to do so. But after about an hour or so, he'll actually bring in like fresh fruits and vegetables. Toshi Rambo is actually a very fertile bit of land, which is why it goes back and forth between the lion and the crab pretty often, or excuse me, the lion and the crane very often. Sorry about that. It's a very fertile land, and so what he brings in is some fresh fruits and nuts that are arranged inside a basket, and it's got some exotic plants that you have, because your family is a family of wealth, that you'll recognize are from the colonies. They'll have some strange fruits and things like that are not exceptionally common. When you go to taste it, they're a little sweet for you because the stuff that grows over there, it's like jungle stuff. Like you'll get like pineapples and bananas and things like that, which are very different from what you get here in Rukagon.
Am I aware of the lion's disdain and scent of and allotment of rice and other staples that have been moved to the Rambo place here?
Yeah, the situation that I gave to you guys are aware that that basically the city is under ration, and this is part of the reason I'm bringing up what you're being fed as a snack. The castle, since you've come in, the castle is actually very lavish, and they seem to have more food than necessary while the rest of the city is on rationing.
I will politely thank the person and decline, saying that unfortunately from the journey my stomach has been not as pleasant as it should be.
Okay.
Please do not let this go to waste.
The servant bows and says, well, the others are expected to be here shortly. I'll leave it for them then. And she'll leave it on the table. The room that you're in, it actually is kind of like a shared room. You notice that there are bed materials set out for 6 people. And do you know that, according to letters, that you will be expecting these other individuals with you, along with a lion member, because it would be unfair to have a crane there but not have a lion as part of the Shiken that are involved?
Mm-hmm.
So, the next one to arrive is actually going to be Komori Dietrich. Dietrich, you were actually a little bit later than you expected. You were originally going to be the first one there. However, due to the nature of why you were sent here, you kind of followed some clues and found out a little bit more information about the young lady that has gone missing. Apparently, she is a Shugenja that has studied the Bat Clan family's long-distance communication skills. And she's actually quite skilled at it, though she is very young. She's actually about 3 years younger than you, which is actually pretty impressive that she's able to command such skill at her age. For meta type understanding, she's effectively like a rank 2 Shugenja, even though she's much younger than you. and that's part of the reason that because you're kind of figuring it out because your daimo was basically telling you go find this person, but didn't really give you exact details behind it. So as you find out a little bit more about her, you realize why it was such importance that your daimo spoke to you directly about finding this woman.
I understand. So I arrived second, you said.
Mm-hmm. And
The-
you'll also be greeted by the servant with the large liver spot on his forehead.
Yeah.
He goes, Komori-san. Kakita-sama is actually waiting for you as well. He arrived not an hour earlier. I'm sure he would welcome the new face. He has been on the road for quite some time.
Yes, as have I. I
Okay.
shall go introduce myself to him.
Very well, please come with me. So I want to point out one thing. I will be using the polite endings for names and stuff like that. He referred to you as San and referred to Kakita as Sama, which is slightly higher respect. If you have anything that you want to ask about that, you can.
No, I'm used to it.
Okay. So he guides you through the castle. It's actually a pretty short trip from the main entrance over to the room that you'll be staying in with the other Shikin. You'll notice because the stuff that you are particularly interested that they do have a courtyard, and inside the courtyard they have like a training pond and things like that. That is a little unusual because the training pond itself is actually. It's not a very good copy, but it is similar to the kinds of training ponds that you would have seen at like the Mantis Bushi schools, where you would train on like bamboo staffs that are over the water and stuff like that to work your balance. They have things like that there. It's just not as well put together as yours. It's more pretty than it needs to be.
It seems very decorative then.
Mm-hmm. You'll also notice that they have a sumo ring, actually, that has been outlined and is outdoors, which is very unusual. Sumo is kind of popular right now, but it's not. It's never been like the most popular. Sorry about that.
Fight.
It's never been the most popular sport in Rukugan. But it has been gaining traction lately, and that's probably why there's actually a full ring that's been set here.
That'd be interesting to watch. Sumo is not. Sumo rings are not prevalent in the bat lands.
Yeah, the clans that participate in that the most is typically the crab, as far as you're aware. The unicorn also do, but they also have other physical sports that they participate in that they're known for, at least a little bit more than sumo anyways.
Yeah. I might have to check that out later. But for now, I have a new face to meet.
Okay. So when you arrive to the room, there's that basket that I described, or the little bowl of fruits and things that I described earlier. You're going to notice that the room is lavishly decorated, something that Kakita is used to, so he probably would not have picked up on as much as you do. It's very obvious that the owner of the keep is trying to put his best foot forward, since you guys are here for political reasons.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the first thing I'll do is, as I look around, I eventually look at Kakita there, the Kakita-san, and I will walk up to you in a friendly manner.
When you walk up to Toshiro, he is currently applying makeup to his face. He looks to have the white base down and is currently making what looks to be a waterfall, a wave cresting, starting on the left and going to the right.
I did not believe the Kakitas were into face paints. Or was I led to believe differently?
I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, Mr.
Dietrich, Kamori Dietrich.
A pleasure to meet you, Komori-san. My name is Kakita Tanshiro. It is a
Yes.
pleasure.
It
You
is.
may notice that my right mon is a mon of the Kuni clan. I am a member of the Kuni Shigenzu School, and part of that, I do paint my face in their traditions. However, being a Kakita and an artisan, I find it difficult not to apply our personal flair.
So then we have a bit in common then. We both trained in schools outside of our clans.
It seems some of ours were further away than others.
He'll laugh at that a bit. Yes. My clan just does not have its own school for the those not specialized with the spirits. So we look to our closest brethren.
So with that, because of the colonies and the popularity of travel right now, you know that who the Bat Clan are, that they specialize in long distance communication. The Phoenix has a similar capability, but the Bat Clan is much faster about it. And they hold that secret very tightly. Unfortunately, because they're a minor clan, they just don't have the resources to be able to train Bushi. So it's not uncommon that he would have been trained as either like a Mantis Bushi, which they have very, very tight kinship with, or possibly even like pick up Ronin schools. But they would still be considered a clan samurai at that point.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Komori-san. Please, the attendant brought us some fruit, although I'm not sure it was needed in this room. I'm sure you'll find it a delicacy, so it sounds like you've spent some extensive time in the colonies.
Once or twice as a child. I look at the fruits. How exotic are the fruits?
You have stuff inside there like bananas and pineapples, but then there's a lot of like traditional Rukugan fruits and things like that, like hard apples,
I only ask
some
'cause I know
cherries
that
and things like that.
I know that where the Bat Clan are in the Mantis, it is considered a tropical, for the most part, place. I'm just trying to see if
They don't
any
have
of these
papayas, which is something that comes specifically from where the Bat Clan are. That's
Yeah.
considered like a nice delicacy, and typically, like when you travel from your clan, they'll usually give you a couple to take with you.
Yeah. All right. I will grab one piece of fruit fruit I have not tried before.
Okay. So
And,
they've got this green, kind of weird-looking fruit, and it's kind of elongated, and it's got like little spots that stick up. And you're kind of confused on how to eat it because it's such a weird-looking fruit. And then when you go to like grab at it, it actually opens up. It looks like it was already pre-cut for you. And then once you pick up one of the pieces, you realize it looks like a star, and you're like, oh, I know what this is. It's star fruit because you've heard about it.
Yes.
It's for your taste buds because you're used to a little bit less flavor just in general as a Rukugan citizen, or at least richer flavors towards the other spectrum. It's almost too sweet for you. Like it would be something that maybe you could have one or two slices of, but it would get a little bit much after that.
I will finish it either way, as I do not want to waste the food. That just that would show I know that would show a bit of God, the word escapes me right now.
It would feel rude.
Yeah, it's essentially rude. It would make me seem like I'm not interested in what they offer. That's the only reason I took it in the first place.
So you're going to notice that there's been bedding set out, and there is a sword rack as well. They give you a traditional rack, so your extra weapons that you normally carry with you, you don't have like official ways to display those weapons properly. So if you were to leave them in the room as you've been requested, you're probably just going to have to leave them on top of the little chest that they provided for you.
I will. Yeah, I will place my katana. I will place my 2 commas. And I'll even place my gauntlet down.
Okay.
But I will take, of course, extra special care of the gauntlet.
Um,
Uh,
Kakita, he does have that strange thing that he just took off, the gauntlet. It looks very similar to great armor gauntlets, except for it's a little bit bulkier, and the design looks strange. It's definitely something different. And I mean, you already know that he has a Gaijin name, so this could
And
be
my
like a
eyes
Gaijin
are-
item.
Sorry, I meant to tell you, Murdoch, my eyes are also blue and have a strange twinge of a glow to it.
He notices but doesn't make any outward motion that it's out of place, and continues to paint his face.
Okay. Next up is actually going to be 2 of you together, Miramoto Kaji and Yoga Shinsai. You'll both arrive at the front gate at the same time. The same older gentleman with the liver spot will actually greet you guys, and he'll take you through. Yogo, because of your training and your expertise, one of the things that you're going to pick up on is whoever lives here is actually fairly religious, or at least somebody was at some point when they lived there, because there are carvings of... They're not like real wards like what you cast, but they are the superstitious wards. Like there's carvings of protection on the outside of the door frames and stuff like that. You know that they
Folded
don't...
paper charms and things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know that they won't do anything compared to what you actually do, because what you do is an actual magic. But it's old like folklore religion stuff that they would put stuff like words of protection on their door frames and things like that. For Miramoto, one of the things that you're going to notice about this place is that training field that I kind of talked about earlier. You're going to notice kind of the similar things that Kamori Dietrich noticed because of your training and things like that. You'll recognize like the balanced training pond and the sumo ring, which for Dragon, sumo is considered almost vulgar of a sport. Because it's almost needless violence is kind of how they look at it.
All right.
Okay.
I'll take note of it and keep going.
Okay. He'll guide you guys over to your room. Once you get in there, you're going to find a man that is wearing Bat-Clan robes and things like that. He's got his back towards you. As soon as the door opens, he'll kind of turn to present himself to you, and you'll immediately catch his different physical distinctions, like having the blue eyes and kind of a more European face than you guys have, and you'll recognize that he does have Gaijin blood.
Yogo looks surprised, almost openly, but not like, disrespectfully.
I'm going to welcome them in. Welcome. You must be some of the other ambassadors.
Thank you.
My name is Dietrich, Kamuri Dietrich.
I am Yogo Shinsai. Yogo actually wears a not thin, but like a hardened cloth mask. It's a red mask over the bottom half of his face, covering his nose and his mouth, but it leaves his eyes and the rest of his head exposed.
I'm aware of the stereotypical
Pretty normal
scorpion.
thing for scorpions. Yeah.
Yes.
And unlike most scorpions, however, he keeps his hands held together in front of him, and the sleeves do not cover his hands. His hands are in plain view.
Okay.
Greetings. I'm Miramoto Kaji. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. And he'll give a small bow. Miramoto is dressed... He's probably the only one in the room who's actually wearing armor. And, like, the design and color clearly denotes he is of Dragon Clan. So...
if you are looking around, you will notice that I took my armor off.
When
Sorry.
no, finish.
I was gonna say I took it off along with my weapons and stuff.
When you all enter and introduce yourselves, Tonshiro will stand up and he'll bow, and he'll say, "I'm Kakita Toshiro. I am here on behalf of the Kakita clan, or the Kakita family and the Grand Clan." It is a pleasure to make both of your acquaintances.
The pleasure is mine.
Miyamoto will briefly pause and raise an eyebrow, but then he'll say, "It is also a pleasure to meet you."
Miyamoto, I'm not familiar with that one.
We are a well-known family in the Dragon Clan.
Unfortunately, I don't get to make it up to Dragonlands as often as I want. I spend far too much time these days on the wall. Perhaps we should visit someday.
You should. It's a lovely country. Oh, part of the country.
I'm sure.
As you are discussing, the screen door that kind of blocks in your room is actually going to slide open, and it's going to like click with a hard thunk. In will come a man who has a top knot and kind of a longer beard, but it's one of those beards that's like shaved clean on the cheeks, and it just kind of starts on the very chin line. And he has no mustache to kind of give you an idea of what he looks like. He's wearing lion garb, and he comes in, and you catch him making a mistake in his honor. He loses face as he comes in. He'll have kind of a grimace, and then you can see him breathe in for just a second, and then he gives kind of like a sickly fake smile. Like you can all pick up on it that he's not necessarily pleased about the whole situation here. And he says, "Greeting, fellow Shikin. My name
I will
is
walk up. Sorry.
my name is Matsu Kazuma. I am the diplomat from the Lion Clans. I will be joining you this evening. We are expecting one more, but I suspect he probably will not arrive till dinner since he lives in Toshi Rambo."
I will walk up to him and greet myself first with a honest-to-God smile.
Okay.
The name is Kamori Dietrich. Pleased to meet you.
Now, I haven't asked you this. When you greet people, do you greet them as a gaijin would and extend your hand to shake their hand, or do you bow, which is appropriate?
He half does both. He goes to because of his grandfather. He goes in for the shake. Like you can see he's making the hand movements. Then he always realizes and stops in between. Then goes to a bow.
Okay.
But you can definitely see it is very obvious that he is going for a different movement than just going straight for the bow. Like it's a natural thing.
Okay.
He'll approach somebody and then realize, wait, I don't need to shake their hand. Then just-
Exactly.
As you start to extend your hand, the lion kind of leans back a little bit because he doesn't know what you're doing.
It's understandable.
And then he realizes that you have caught yourself, and he then stops acknowledging it because that's the polite thing to do. And he bows curtly to you as well.
And I'll tell him, please come in. They've left us such a lavish assortment of fruits.
Kikita Toshiru will turn to him, and instead of the normal polite bow where you dip your head, I give him the if you're going to pull a knife on me, I'm going to watch you do it bow, where you continue to look at your opponent.
Right. He's actually been bowing like that the whole time as well.
So I will do that. Well, for the other folks, I bowed with my neck exposed and was very polite.
I also bowed with my head and neck exposed to the lion.
I will say, Matsu. My father traveled with a Matsu. Otaro, I believe. Any relation?
It may be a cousin of mine. The Matsu family, like many others, is quite extended. I spend most of my days here and with the City of Promises.
Unfortunately, Kikita will Toshiro will stop himself and will not finish the sentence and said, "It's a pleasure to meet another Matsu. I was told of we'll go with cousins, great deeds in battle."
I'm honored to hear such high words from a noble crane. He genuinely seems a little taken back that you presented him with a compliment like that, and you can tell that his composure is relaxing a little bit now. He'll go over to one side of the room and start inspecting the fruit bowl while you guys are kind of making introductions. You can tell that he's actually hungry. He's waiting for the introductions to finish.
As he's going to the fruit bowl, Shin says, "We'll walk up to the lion, kind of, enjoy the fruits together. It is good to see that the two clans we're here for getting along so well."
Because you presented the bowl to him, he bows real quickly and he grabs up some traditional fruits and nuts out of the bowl. He kind of avoids the exotic fruits from there. And he will start to kind of, like I said, ease up a little bit more the more you guys are kind of talking to him. For Kikita, you remember getting the word that the lion brought rice in to try and ease the current situation with the people in Toshi Rambo. Matsukazuma is the person who brought that rice with him.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you'll
going-
recognize the name after a little bit.
I will say to him, as a member of the Kakita and a honored pupil of the great Kunitaru, I am gladdened to see that the lion has taken such an interest in keeping the people of Toshi Rambo in a good state of health and living. I understand that you personally delivered this feast for them.
I unfortunately wouldn't be able to call it a feast, but I did provide some kokus of rice that we had to spare. I would not like to see family of mine suffer. Though it is not our lands anymore, there are plenty of people that have been part of the Lion Clan at one point or another.
I understand. Well, on behalf of my family and my school, I would like to say thank you. Helping those less fortunate than ourselves is always an honorable duty, no matter who it comes from and who the recipient is.
He will realize that he kind of stormed in here a little rude, and he'll walk over and close the screen door politely now, since he left it wide open once he came in. And you're going to see that he carries only a wakizashi on him. The kind of stance that he carries himself in for the warriors, you're going to notice that he's probably a courtier. He does not carry himself like a warrior does. Usually warriors are a little bit more stiff and they're a little bit more alert in how they walk about. He's a little bit too graceful for that sort of thing. So he may be something like, he may be a student from the Akoma school, but you can't really tell from what school he comes from because he wears lion crests on all three of his mon locations.
Mm-hmm.
And then what'll happen is the older gentleman with the liver spot on his forehead will come to the door, and you'll hear just kind of just a little rapping on there, and it says, and you'll hear the old man's voice, and he'll say, "Gentlemen, it is time for dinner. Our last shikin will be arriving at the table with you. Lord Otomo has set aside a glorious feast in honor of your welcome. The Emerald Magistrates will be joining us as well this evening. Or excuse me, joining you as well this evening."
What a wonderful surprise.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a surprise, Yoko-san, but wonderful it is.
Shinsai's will laugh in amusement and nod in agreement. And something you'll notice, as everyone is requested to put their weapons aside, he pulls a knife out of one of his sleeves and puts it on the table. Doesn't try to hide it or anything, but he also pulls a small satchel of paper scrolls and puts it on the table as well.
So as Yoko does that, he goes, Kikita will go, yes. And he'll take off the chair and he'll put it with his wakizashi.
Well, we're allowed to hold the wakizashi, correct?
Yes, it's considered
Okay.
a mark of station.
Yeah.
And
So
since
he
it's
holds the
not
wakizashi
war
with
right
him.
now, wakizashis are fine for you to carry.
Well, then he'll put it with the other weapons.
Yeah. His is tied also. His wakizashi is tied.
Basically, they gave you guys kind of a wardrobe that has been retrofitted to hold weapons inside of it. You have sword stands as well, but the wardrobe is more for the things that aren't traditional things that go on sword stands.
Like a chair.
Or gauntlet.
Also, I didn't
You have like a spike ball on the end of it, so you can just.
I didn't say it, but I also put my katana and my tanto into the sheath thingy. So
Okay. Um, so traditionally, when you arrive to a castle, I know that those of you that have played before know that you typically bring a gift for whoever's taking you as guests. You're here as ambassadors, so that's not necessary this time. But if you think that your character would have brought a gift anyways, that's totally up to you.
I do, and it would have been a painting.
Okay. During the dinner, it would be the appropriate time to present that. Once he takes you over to the old man takes you over to the dinner hall. This actually takes a little bit of distance to get there. The castle in Toshi Rambo is actually, it's not like huge, but it is quite big. The Kikita castle is actually very similar size, so it's a lot of square footage as far as like how much land it takes up, but it's not very tall comparatively as to some of the other castles and things like that. This castle is also designed for sieging. So like the walls are slanted specifically to withstand sieges. There's like death traps built into the walls and stuff like that, which you all know because of Toshi Rambo's history. And the man that walks you there, he will eventually introduce himself since no one's asked. And he'll tell you that his name is Wotaka. That he is the servant to Toshi Rambo, is how he phrases it. And he'll warn you about going down different hallways and things like that. And he'll tell you don't go down this hallway because of the way that the castle's designed. And it's almost comical because he has to tell you like every couple steps to avoid this or that, or don't touch this. There'll be guards here later that are instructed to kill on sight, that sort of thing. But given the situation, because there's possible war in the air right now, it makes sense, all the precautions that they're taking.
I will take note of most of the hallways.
It's pretty easy to find your way. Once you understand like the pathways, it's built in a very familiar traditional Rukugan style. So once he shows you there, it's very easy for you to recall how to get back to your room safely, how to get to the dining hall and out to the courtyard. On your way, he'll also point out a temple, which is a temple to the ancestors of Toshi Rambo. There's also a small spirit shrine inside there, which is dedicated to the spirits of water.
All right.
Once you arrive inside the dining hall, it's actually been redone for Kikita Toshiro. You've probably been to Toshi Rambo at least once before in your life because it's part of the Crane Lands and it's kind of important. And also Miyamoto Kaji, you've probably been here as well once before. The tables inside here are different from the tables when you first came previously. These are exotic woods. Komori Dietrich will recognize them as woods from the colonies. There's a large jungle that's down there, and they produce a lot of good, healthy, renewable woods and things like that, which is kind of hard to come by in Rukugan. Rukugan has a lot of like redwoods and cherry woods and things like that inside of it. So those trees are a little bit harder to refresh as compared to like palm trees and things like that they have there. You're also going to notice that this is something that you guys probably won't notice as much. Is it seems like they're burning more lights than they need to, which is another sign of like lavishness. It may just be because you're honored guests and they're putting on the show, which is pretty common, or just maybe the rumors that you've heard that Otomo, the Lord Governor Otomo, may be abusing his position. Lord Governor Otomo sits at the end of the hallway with a small kneeling table in front of him, which that one is made out of a cherry wood. He has kind of a Fu Manchu and these like scraggly sides, like he hasn't been cleaned up in a while. He wears a magistrate's cap, which is that sloped kind of cap, and he wears the emerald green robes of the Otomo family or any sort of imperial family. He will see you all come in, and he will stand up to address you, and he says, "My honored guests, I am glad to see you've all made it safely. May I present C. Tsubasa? and he'll bow to everybody individually and thank you for coming, and he'll introduce you to C. Subasa. Go ahead and introduce yourself, C.
Tsubasa will stand up. His stature doesn't really match his family name. The C family are renowned smiths, and thus are usually big and bulky, and practically living in the forges. He is very thin and wiry, and also rather young. He will bow to each of you. It is an honor to meet members of such great and storied clans.
Kikita Toshiro will bow back. He again exposes the neck in a proper bow, not in the bow that he gave the lion. And he says, See. The Smiths, I believe, my grandfather received a sword from one of the Sea Smiths. The blade is still combat ready today, I am told. That is the mark of a great and wonderful smith. Your families should be known throughout the entire world for their craftsmanship.
I am humbled. I strive for that same perfection.
I am sure with your skill, that perfection will not be lacking.
I will introduce myself next. I'll also bow just as probably. Again, I will start to go for a handshake, but then correct myself. Komori Dietrich is the name. I'm glad that I'm not the I'm not alone being the only sorry. I'm glad that I'm not alone in being a minor clan here. It can sometimes be intimidating.
Yes, we have much to learn from their stature.
I plan to learn as much as I can.
I'll turn to face the next.
No, I guess that'll be me. Also, greetings. I am Miyamoto Kaji. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. And we'll do the traditional bow. I'm afraid I have not heard of your clan, but I hope to rectify this soon.
I have heard much of yours. I am a great admirer of the grace of your school's skills with katana and wakizashi.
Kaji will stand up slightly straighter at that, and you can tell he's very pleased about that.
People know me.
Well, at
Hey,
least
got
in
it.
school.
Hey, gotta represent two sword style.
Shinsai will bow wordlessly at first and stand up with a smile and say that the art of the craft comes in many shapes and sizes. Mine may be magical, yours physical, but there's a certain wonder with yours. It never goes away. He seems a little bit mystified and lost in thought thinking about it. And he says, I apologize. My name is Yogo Shinsai. It is an honor to meet a member of a craftsman family as well received as yours.
And it is, again, an honor to be in the presence of a member of such a statured clan. And he'll motion to your mask, actually, and the make of your mask is exquisite. May I ask who its crafter was?
It is a shared responsibility of mine and my wife. She
My
did most of the
compliments.
work. I'll tell her so. Thank you.
See, if I may, you keep referring to yourself as a minor clan, and Komori-san continues to do the same. May I remind you that to the Emperor, there are no minor clans, for all clans are equally important. Some are just larger and control more land than the others.
You humble me. My clan is grateful ever since the Emperor raised us to the status of a clan, and we serve him dutifully since.
The Matsu Shiken with you kind of like stiffens up a little bit, and he goes, Kakita-sama, my friend, unfortunately the Emperor does recognize those that are minor clans and the greater clans. It is the minor clans' goal to strive to one day become great clans, and our goal as great clans to guide them. I think it is good that they acknowledge their superiors and understand that they have much to learn from them, as we do them. A skilled smith from the Sea family would be a great asset to this council. Their family takes residence in this city. It would be nice to have his opinion here. Do you agree?
Of course, I agree that his opinion is welcome and necessary, Matsu-san. However, the Empress, I believe, well, she does recognize minor as they're using it. I believe that the Empress would not recognize minor deeds that these clans do. Some of them hit far outside of their normal weight class.
Of course.
He just made a sumo reference, by the way.
The Lord Governor Otomo Kirino will actually start to smile, and he goes, and he'll pretty much interrupt the Matsu as he's talking, which is kind of a big breach of protocol. But the Matsu will stop immediately since he's his superior, and not acknowledge the fact that he was interrupted. Because the Matsu says, agreed, and he starts to elaborate, but then Kirino steps in and he goes, I see we have fans of sumo. Quite an interesting sport. I am glad to hear that. I have brought forward 2 of my favorite warriors tonight. I have been graced with the honor of being able to keep a sumo stable here in Toshi Rambo.
How exciting!
I have noticed myself.
Otomo-sama, you do us great honor for providing us with such entertainment. May I throw the rice?
I would be honored if all my guests were to participate in throwing the rice.
Excellent.
But first, let us have dinner. And he'll clap his hands, and they'll bring forward a steak that is from Rukugan. It's a very lean steak, but it's actually it's a very lavish meal. It's something that you guys would maybe have once a month at best, because a lot of Rukugani staple is rice, vegetables, like a lot of roughage kind of stuff and starches, and then fish to kind of even out your palate. The only people that really participate in eating red meat regularly are the crab.
Yeah,
And so I'm sorry, say that again?
the mantis do as well. They eat game,
yeah,
actually.
the mantis do, but they focus more on game than necessarily like steak and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The meat that it brings forward, at least for Kakita, it's undercooked. The Kakita's been living with the crab for a while, and he's gained an appreciation for the meat and stuff like that, but it's a little too raw, or a little bit too rare, I should say. With your schooling, I would like you to go ahead and give me a knowledge Shadowlands.
Very well. You said I get a school bonus on this?
Well, it's just what your character sheet has on there.
Okay.
That's one of your school abilities, and that's why I'm saying
Yes.
that because of your school, you would be able to pick up on this roll.
$21.
Okay. With the 21, you would recognize that that very undercooked meats or things that are a little bit too bloody for normal consumption might be a sign of some sort of Shadowlands taint, because the body will eventually crave actual human blood and things like that is a sign of Shadowland taint, but there are many different signs. That alone is not enough to accuse someone, but it is kind of a telltale sign that you've been taught. And given your side mission here, that's something that I thought you should be aware of.
Yep. I'll take note of it.
Okay. Does anybody make comment about their undercooked food? Or do you politely eat a little and then, say that I'm too full kind of deal?
Well, I'll actually eat wholeheartedly.
I also will. As in, this is not the first time I've had a little bit rarer meat.
Mm-hmm.
It's what my grandfather prefers.
Shinsai's goal in life is to close the Sec festering pit. That's like his ultimate goal. So he spends a lot of time closer to the crablands. I imagine he's more used to that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that are used to being around the crablands and where the Shadowlands are, which is our Bat Clan, our Yogo, who's been at the second wall, and Kikita, who's been going to school there, it's manageable, but it's undercooked. Is how you all are looking at it.
Okay.
For Miyamoto, your clan almost always disdains meat, so that's kind of your call on that one. It would, had he not been a Lord Governor, it would be almost offensive that he brought you steak for dinner.
Yeah, I mean, not exactly a vegetarian, so like, I'll do the things like, I'm full.
So you take a couple bites and you apologize for the fact that you had too much rations while you were on the road, that you did not expect such a glorious welcome kind of thing. The Lord kind of appreciates it that you are, complimenting his food and things like that, and he'll have minstrels play while you guys are eating. And the minstrels themselves, they're quite skilled. They are actually from the Phoenix clan, and let me go ahead and turn them on real quick here, and they'll actually be playing while you guys are sitting down and eating. After a little bit, the Lord Governor Otomo will say, "If you excuse me, I must prepare the ring and gather my sumos." He'll get up and he'll bow.
I'll stand up and bow as well when he leaves.
I respectfully join.
I'll follow suit. One thing I would like to mention, because I'm not sure people are really aware of it, as from players' perspective. One, this is more for Brendan. The Scorpion clan is almost universally reviled by all of the other clans. That's the clan that I'm a part of. Typically speaking, nobody trusts us. They all think we're lying scum. And that's kind of like a broad opinion of the clan. The Yogo family, the family that I'm a part of, is particularly bad in most people's eyes.
However, they have gotten a lot more acceptability in the last couple of years because of the second festering pit. They've shown a lot of initiative, and they protect the wall now. Right now, everybody kind of hates the spider.
Yeah, so with the spider coming along, the opinion of the Scorpions has kind of softened. Scorpions, particularly the Yogo, actually get along very well with the Kuni Shugenja school and the crab in general. So, because of they have a very shared focus on stopping the Shadowlands and the taint and all that.
So
I just wasn't sure. I just wanted to...
If you guys have anything that you'd like to discuss with each other or the Matsu, now would be an appropriate time. You're kind of alone inside the hallway. That Wotaru guy is actually still around. He seems to be, I guess the best term would be like the major domo. He's essentially telling the servants where they need to be, making sure that food is coming out appropriately, that your drinks are full, and things like that. From station that you can ask him to leave, and once he leaves, the servants will leave until you call for them, in which case he'll leave a bell for you if you would like full privacy.
When would the appropriate time to have given a gift be? Or was it at the beginning or at some point during the dinner?
Since he's going to do a show for you, usually during the show portion would be appropriate. Like after the match is done, you can basically say, we thank you for your hospitality, and present for the gift. I didn't mention it for these guys, but for you, since you're newer, I don't know if you got to the point where it talks about the gifts in the book. Essentially, you have to offer the gift 3 times, and he has to reject it twice out of being polite, essentially.
All right.
All right. So, would you guys like to have any sort of conversations with each other or the Matsu? The Matsu will... he will have ate the rice in front of Otomo, but Otomo left before he even got to eating the steak, and he won't touch the steak at all. Which is a little weird because they do eat really rare steaks too, actually.
When he leaves, I'll kind of put my hand up to my mouth, and kind of say, this steak is, or this meat is thoroughly red. And then I will retake my chopsticks and continue to eat.
The Matsu will pull out a fan, and he'll put it in front of his face, and he'll say, I had not noticed. Since the people of this town suffer, I decided that I would take up a rice diet in unity with them. I am not with Lord Otomo's plan. He seems to live a little bit more lavish than one would expect of a governor of his caliber. And then he'll close the fan, and you can see his face is very stern once he closes the fan, and he'll put it down on the table in front of him because he expects to grab it again during this conversation.
I will at this point take out my fan because that's how this is going to roll, it looks like. And I'll kind of...
By the way, if you say things behind the fan, it doesn't count. That's why we're bringing up these fans.
If you guys cover your mouth in any way. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you guys would like to make things not count, just do that on camera. That way I know.
To the crane, actually, this still counts.
Mm-hmm.
But it is allowed to be less polite because it'll be translated to be polite.
And it's more forgiving.
Yes. When I pull up the fan, you can say pretty much.
It's stricken from the record. Yeah. Which is why the lion went for it. He's kind of blunt to begin with.
So
I watch and eat my rice.
So one thing to notice about Shinsai is that during the meal he says almost nothing because he has to actually take his mask off to eat. So he takes the mask off, he puts it beside him, and he'll fairly quickly. And once he's done, he puts the mask back on.
So Toshiro will pick the fan up and he'll say, or grab his fan and he'll say, I noticed the spread didn't contain any of the typical diet of the people of Toshi Rambo. It's odd that the governor would spoil himself and guests. It's such a miserable time for his people. And then he'll close the fan and put it back down and continue to eat.
To be fair, you all know that typically they will lavish their guests on at least the first night. But this is really extreme. The kind of steak that he's breaking out for you is essentially I think it's called Kobayashi steak, the really expensive Japanese steak. Mm-hmm. That's the meat he's presenting to you. But he's presenting things that are just off scale. This would be the stuff that he should technically be presenting to the magistrates, not necessarily you guys. And oddly enough, you haven't seen the magistrates tonight.
Being from this city, I've seen sort of what the people are eating, what the current goods are. How does this compare to my experience?
So your family's doing fairly well because you're smiths and your trade is respected through the city. But you know that a lot of people are getting rationed just simple white rice. And most of the people are actually making a stew with their rice. Essentially, they're adding a little milk to it. And they're making a porridge with the rice to make it last longer because their rations are so thin right now. The city's actually been regulating it, and the town guards come out basically every Tuesday, and you're allowed to take one regular-sized bowl out of there, and that's supposed to be your food for the week for your family. Larger families of four or larger get 2 bowls, but 2 bowls for 8 children or 8 kids and the parents is way limited. So those families have to stretch it as best they possibly can. Your family has participated in kind of shuffling around your own rice because of your position in the city. You've had more wealth, you have Koku reserves, and so your family has been looking out for their neighbors. So you're aware of the dire situation as far as food is concerned in the city.
My family is helping.
At least their
some
neighbors,
parts of the
yeah.
city. Okay.
Like the people that have been loyal to your family and have basically kept your family safe during the times that Toshi Rambo has been passed between the lion and the crane. Because effectively the C family has like a little like quadrant of the town that is effectively like sea land there. The other thing that you're going to know is a lot of the people have taken up to game hunting to kind of make their ends meet, which is something that typically Rugugan City citizens don't do unless they're like way out in the country kind of a thing.
All right.
Or Mantis,
Yeah, or Mantis who enjoy game hunting.
who don't care.
And you know that that the Lord Governor has basically decreed it as he's rationing the city because he fears that war is coming, and that he must prepare the citizens for war, and he must have the rice reserves ready for soldiers. You know that a lot of citizens have tried to volunteer for the guard so that they could get more rice rations, which is typically kind of the incentive to becoming a guard for the city. But he's rejected everybody who's asked to become part of the guards for the last couple weeks. Basically, they only took on about 20% more staffing for the guards, and they stopped hiring guards after that. The city has enough guards for peacetime, but not wartime. So he is limiting it far more than he really needs to.
All right.
The city is truly in dire need. Should he not hire more people for the guard?
Well, it's the war. It is the war they are looking out. He's looking to get ready for it, not the people that as is right now.
The other thing that you're going to know, see, is that there is a group called the Iron Fans that have been Ronin protectors of the city. They don't necessarily work for whoever's in charge of the city. They've been there for hundreds of years, and basically they're usually made up of Lion and Crane clan members that were tired of seeing Toshi Rambo basically get destroyed every time it passed hands. So the Iron Fans are basically protectors of the people. It's a very unique type of Ronin group.
Okay.
The Iron Fans have become a little bit more active lately, and word is that they may start a coup to try and get some of the rice from the Lord Governor for the people. So that's something that you know that not everybody in this group is necessarily aware of.
Okay, in response to what everyone else is saying, then, the governor has his work cut out for him with the raids the Iron Fans have been putting on the lands.
The Iron Fans, are they not warriors of the people, though?
I take it at this point you're all behind your fans, correct?
I'm behind mask. I'm masked, yeah.
Yeah, your mask is fine, but everybody else is speaking behind fans, putting their hand in front of their face and everything. Okay.
Typically, Shinsai does not speak if his mask is not on.
Wataka will see that you are all kind of doing this and having a small, polite conversation with each other, and he will then shoo away the rest of the servants and politely turn his back to you to wait for you to address him, which is what the major domo of the house should be doing in this sort of situation.
If the Iron Fans are performing these raids, as you call them, does that not mean the people are fighting back against the people who rule them? They are,
Go ahead. Sorry.
as rumor dictates, warriors of the people. They only work to defend those they care about.
The Matsu will finally pick up his fan and snap it open again, and he goes, "The Iron Fans are are noble Ronin, indeed. They protect the people when their governor may not necessarily have the best interests in mind. But staging a raid like that would be more detrimental to the people than I think they can count. They count for. I have been told that some of their loyal agents may actually be in the castle already. Perhaps they are thinking of sneaking food out quietly. And he'll just hold his fan now because it's an open conversation now.
Shinsai's gonna eye Matsu when he says that. He's gonna look at him.
You will tell that Matsu is smiling from behind his fan, and he goes, "My family is known for their tactical prowess."
Yogo laughs a little bit, says nothing.
Toshiro stands up. He bows at the food, or he bows at everybody at the table, and he smiles. He takes out a small painting, and he'll walk over to the Matsu, and he'll place it down in front of the Matsu, and then he will smile, and he'll say openly to everybody, "It was a pleasure to have dinner with you. I am not feeling so well after ingesting some ill-made food I ate earlier in the day. I'm going to retire to our chambers. I hope to see you all there soon." And then he walks away.
The Matsu will close his fan and look curiously at you about the painting, and he goes, "I will inform our host and present your gift for you."
Toshiro will turn around and he'll say, "No, that was just presented to you."
Forgive me, but this is far too great of a gift for myself. It looks like it was drawn for the governor himself. It would be of a waste in my home, in my small, humble home.
Small, humble homes are where peace needs to be drawn between our clans. Continued anger over small disputes will get us nowhere. Take this as my token of appreciation for all that you have done to help these people.
He nods and he says, "Very well. I accept with a humble nature in mind. I only wish I had something to present you." And he kind of pauses and thinks for a moment, and he fishes out a small silken fan. It has the colors that would be appropriate for a magistrate, or rather for the Lord Governor. It's emerald, it's lace, it's got dragons and stuff on there. But it's got like the Imperial family mon in the center. And he says, "I think this would be better suited to your household, since we are of like mind." And he'll present the fan to you. It's very obviously a very nicely built fan.
I will decline. Toshiro will say, "Well, this fan is of obvious superior craftsmanship. In my home, I would not wish my large family to misplace it. Such a gift should remain in your home so that it may be properly cared for."
If it is of concern that your family may misplace it, may I suggest giving it to your wife? I think it would adorn your household with a great reflection of the service that you do for the Empire. And he'll present it again for you.
Just out of game for the player knowledge, it is not in proper etiquette to accept it the second time, since I'm not like a guest or anything here, right?
Correct.
Okay. I will take it, and I will say that Yukaru will be immensely satisfied and pleased with this, especially when she hears it was given to her from Amatsu. She will honor and treasure this from this day until her last. Thank you. If you are indeed preparing to prepare a gift for our host, please, before you head to the sumo match, return to the chambers. I have a much larger painting I would like to give him.
Very well. I must return for my secondary gift then as well.
Just out of game, Chris, I had fully intended to actually give something to the lion that was providing rice, because he's providing rice to the clan members.
Right. Well, he's providing rice to the villagers themselves. He's actually
the village is part of the clan, so.
Another thing, I don't know if you necessarily picked up on it, he has decided that he will eat the same food that the villagers eat. So when he eats the rice, he only eats like a fraction of the rice. Like, whereas you guys were given kind of like big heaping bowls of rice, he only ate like the first 3 inches of rice. Okay, I'll be right back in just a second here.
Yeah.
Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, yeah, he will continue to sit down with you guys. He will actually wait until everybody else is finished with their meals. He'll look at the painting once you've left and kind of examine it. What kind of painting did you give to him?
I gave him a lion, like roaming a prairie.
Okay.
In the sky, there will be a crane, just kind of, there.
Mm-hmm.
It was something simple, but supposed to be tasteful for him.
Okay. So he will look at it, and then he'll fold the wrapping back over it, and he'll tuck it away inside his dress robes that he wore to dinner. As you guys are finishing up your meal, like I said, he kind of sits and waits for you guys to finish because he's going to finish a lot earlier than you since he's eating such a little amount. The Emerald Magistrates will arrive, and they'll take a seat at a table across from you guys. You'll notice that they're from a couple different clans, and most of them wear Imperial Mons on their backs, which is pretty traditional for Emerald Magistrates. They also are wearing the appropriate garb and a magistrate's hat and everything, so they're really easy to recognize. They are doing something that is kind of important that you guys will all recognize. They are wearing their Imperial Magistrate Jade emblem out in the open. For Kikita, unfortunately you missed them when you left earlier.
Yep.
Yogo, if you
Yes.
don't mind, if you do happen to have Shadowlands knowledge, you can go ahead and roll it.
I do have Lore Shadowlands. Let us find out how good it is. It is rank 2.
Okay.
So that becomes rank plus attribute, keep attribute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your character
Scroll
sheet
over
should
here.
have it listed on there, because if I remember right, once you actually see it on the full character sheet, the character generator will have it written down for you.
Oh, I may not have done that part yet. Anyway, well, it's 5K3.
It prints out a PDF.
Yeah.
Sweet. I gotta print mine then.
Yeah, the PDF's actually pretty clean too.
Nice. All right,
For
I'll do
anybody
that
who's
next time.
interested in Legend of the Five Rings that's viewing, I'll also include a link to the character generator we're using if you're interested in that.
I recommend it.
I got a 30.
30.
Or
All
a
right,
double
perfect.
explode.
That is actually stellar. So you will find out something that typically people in Rukugan find out as they kind of do more things. Since you've worked on the wall, you'll recognize jade as a material that's used to kind of absorb Shadowland's taint and keep you from becoming tainted. Usually you carry a finger of jade, which is enough to last about a week. The emblems that they carry is actually enough to last about 4 weeks. And jade will eventually turn into kind of like a sludgy black tar and melt away. You look at the group, they all seem to be fairly new jade emblems. It's not uncommon that these magistrates will switch them out whenever they get kind of damaged. But you're going to notice that the bottoms of them are a little blackened. For pretty much all of them. Like, one of them looks a little bit more worse for wear, but that might be a little bit older. But they all have, like, just this little blackish kind of a tint towards the bottom. Which means they're
They're all
definitely
slight-
absorbing something.
I will stand and bow.
The magistrates all of a sudden realize that you guys are there because they have been kind of conducting their own business all day, and they will stand up and bow to you. They are from a couple different clans. They're all major clans. There's 2 Phoenix, a Crane, and a Scorpion that is inside the group there. The Scorpion is actually from the shoot, now I'm forgetting the name of that family now. It's the S one. Scorpion.
There's 4 or 3. There's the oh my god, yeah, I'm forgetting it too.
Yeah, I know.
Scorpion. I have the book open right here.
Okay.
Toshi, Toshi.
The Soshi clan.
Soshi.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking
Okay.
of. Is a Soshi clan member. It's somebody that you don't recognize. However, you do know about the Soshi clan and what they do. So it's safe to say that you understand why they were probably selected. The 2 Phoenix that are there are both actually Shugenja, which is actually really uncommon to have 2 Shugenjas that are from the same clan inside a Jade Magistrate unit. But the Phoenix do have some special techniques to try and cleanse people of Shadowland's taint. They're not as effective at like stopping the taint from growing, but if they are able to catch it very early, they can actually cleanse you entirely of taint at the cost of the caster's lives. So they may be here to fix something if they find it. Is kind of what you get right off the top of your head. And the Crane that's with them is actually a Kakita duelist. He appears to not be happy with the entire situation, and you can pretty much tell that from his body language. When he meets you all, he straightens up and presents himself very well.
I mean, it's
And
Kakita.
he'll be polite and everything. Yeah. I mean, he plays out the part of being Kakita very well. However, once you all kind of gather your stuff to get ready to go, you'll see him kind of get in almost a dour, kind of determined, kind of sitting position, because it's again a kneeling table that you guys are having dinner at.
You'll see that Kaji's gaze like lingers for slightly longer than it should in the Kakita.
The Kakita, not understanding what you're staring at, will go. He'll kind of stop for a moment. And he goes, "Oh, forgive me, my manners. I can see that you are curious in my kimono. I had it made here in town. There's a sea seamstress that is actually quite excellent. Here," and he'll extend his arm and allow you to feel the fabric, because that's what he thinks you're staring at, because he doesn't know any better. I mean, the kimono is actually really well made. I mean, you can't complain about it, but
Kaji will blink slowly, then he'll just smile. It's like, "Yes, thank you. It's a very lovely kimono. I shall be sure to visit upon there."
Tsubasa, you know the seamstress that he's talking about. That's your aunt.
What's her name?
Auntie Choba.
Yes.
Auntie Joba.
Yeah, Ani Choba is what you call her.
Her name is Bob.
So for everybody who's never played in a game with me, this is usually how NPCs get names.
Except for the
Auntie
important
Chopa.
ones.
Esteemed Chris.
Unless they're important and I've already given them a name, it's usually team effort.
And then we know that they're important.
If they keep the names, we know they're important. Yeah.
My auntie Choba would be honored to hear your praise.
He kind of is taken back because he hasn't noticed you. It's not uncommon for great clans to just ignore minor clans, and it's like he suddenly discovered you like you were a ghost, and he's like, "Oh, yes, please tell her. I will be sending a gift to your household shortly for such a wonderful gift that they presented to me. I know it was something that I purchased, but I think she did beyond what was necessary."
I've always been an admirer of her skill. Years in the forge have taken away that kind of dexterity from my hands.
So, your aunt is actually a unique person in the family. She was originally going to be a forge master as well. However, she went blind working in the forge, and now she is a blind seamstress because she can't handle being in the forge and being blind at the same time. There are members of the C family that have gone blind from forge work and still work the forge. She just wasn't trained well enough before she went blind to be able to continue the work.
All right, and I'm guessing she's my father's sister.
Yes. Okay, and let me do something real quick here because the minstrels will actually stop playing here once the magistrates have come in and you guys are kind of talking to them. The two Phoenix Clan members will kind of take a seat and they will be relatively quiet, which is a little unusual for Phoenix. They do typically tend to be a little bit louder, just in general. Both Phoenixes have the symbol for the Isawa family on them for their school. And then for Family Mon, one has the Agasha family and the other one has the Isawa family. And then they both have the Phoenix Mon on their back. So they have a very similar style of Mons that like Kikita Toshiro has for his arrangement. Over their heart is the Isawa Shugenja School Mon, though.
Okay.
So I didn't mention that to our viewers. The placement of Mons is actually kind of important. Mons are essentially like symbols that associate your loyalties. There is one that goes over your heart, one that goes over your sword to guide your sword. The one over your heart guides your heart, and the one on your back explains your loyalty, just overall. So it's pretty common that you have clans on your back, and then you have either your school or your family on one of those sides. And that says a lot about who the person is whenever they have them on a particular side. Let's see here, the crane, like I mentioned, he's a Kikita. He actually wears a Kikita emblem on his back, and then he has the duelist school on both sides.
That's what Isamu did.
And then lastly, the scorpion, which is, like I said, the Shosu, or not Shosu, the
Toshi.
the Soshi. Soshi. He will have the Mon for his family over his sword, but he has a scorpion over his heart and a scorpion on his back.
How did I do mine? Was it? Oh man, I'm forgetting.
It's all right. I think it's in your 20 questions if you want to check on that.
It's
But
not,
I put it in.
it's not a 20 question.
or it's not. It was just an extra thing that I added for your character sheets.
Oh
That's right.
yeah, so I put it. My back is Scorpion, and my front and left, and both my fronts are Yogo.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a difference between having something on the left and right?
Yes.
Yes.
What was it again?
the right is the sword. Generally, school is placed there. Your left is the closest to your heart, so you put your family there.
Typically, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
over
Put
the
your
heart
family-
dictates how you feel. Over the left, or over the sword dictates what you fight for.
Kind of. Over the heart is
It's all kind of
whom you-
loose.
over the heart is whom you pay the most respect to the history to as well.
Mhm.
So remember that because it's technically honoring ancestors.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
All right. On mine, on the right, the sword will be my clan emblem. It's an Oriole. On the left will also be an Oriole, but this one's a little different. In its beak, it is holding a flower.
Is that your family?
If you want to know, you can ask my character.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I would have no idea.
Yeah, the minor clans are hard to track for greater clans, so a lot of greater clans just don't know what their family emblems look like.
Right.
Would I know as another minor clan?
Probably not, to be honest. Minor clans get crushed underneath the dirt all the time in history.
Just wanted to confirm on that. If anybody asks, I also my mons are bad on the back, bad on my left, and the Yoritomo school on my right, which would be probably the only one which would probably be obvious for everybody who. That's
Yeah,
a major
that
clan school.
one's the Mantis Bushi school you attended.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Mine would definitely be Mirumoto School on the sword. Probably Mirumoto Clan on the heart and Dragon on the back.
Okay.
Oh,
that
I
kinda-
just realized. I said my clan symbol. It would be the school symbol, the Sea Swordsmith school.
Okay. That one, if I
the-
remember right, it's crossed katanas and a smith's hammer in the center, technically. It's kind of a unique emblem. So, yeah, they will greet you, and they obviously have something important about themselves, about what they're doing. They seem to be talking to each other, but when you guys are in there, they kind of like cuff their language a little bit with you. And you're getting the polite encouragement to leave from them, but they're not saying get out or anything like that.
Once I realize that they are stifling their speech for us, I will excuse myself, telling them mentioning I am going to check on our fellow Shintai who had left for the night. Just making an excuse just to get myself out.
I'll make a similar excuse and excuse myself, and I will make a point to give my compliments to what was his name again? The servant.
There's
Who was running
Wataka,
things?
who's the major domo.
I'll give my compliments to the major domo.
Okay. Well, Wataka will realize that you have addressed him, and he'll turn around and he'll smile kind of openly, and he'll bow very deeply to you, and he says, "Thank you, Su-sama. It is a pleasure to serve one of your family in this house again."
And many more yet to come, I hope. And I'll bow back, and I'll make my leave.
Okay. So you know that the sumo ring that the major domo is going to get you when the sumo match starts. So you guys have kind of free reign to explore a little bit if you want. So if you want to check out any of the things that I've kind of talked to you about since arriving, this would be kind of an ideal chance for you.
Yes.
Chris, actually, Shinsai lingers a little longer than the others at the dinner table. Before he says anything, I want to know out of game. Is it impolite to ask a magistrate about their work?
It is not impolite to ask a magistrate about their work so long as you don't make it about Shadowlands Taint. If you want to make it about Shadowlands Taint, you pretty much have to politely ask them for a curt conversation about their work, and then it will be done behind fans.
Okay. What did he want to
And
ask?
even then, some of them may feel it would be an inappropriate conversation and may decline you. You know that
Okay.
it would be one of those things that you could ask for once, and if they say no, it's best to leave it alone.
Okay. He'll stick around for a little while longer because he realizes his presence and the presence of his family makes people a little uncomfortable. Kind of gauge their reactions to him.
The two Phoenix members are obviously a little bit uncomfortable. They have their fans on the table. They haven't actually picked them up, but that's usually a sign that people are kind of uncomfortable with your presence, is that they have their fans at the ready.
Yogo actually from the Phoenix originally.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about that. That's makes sense that they would know then. No, he'll after a little while he'll politely excuse himself. I would not want to get in the way of the work of the Emerald Magistrates. Your work has clearly kept you busy.
Okay.
I will leave you to your business.
So while you're there, you're kind of scoping out things and checking them out as politely as possible without necessarily getting caught that you're staring at them or anything. Because the scene has kind of died down a little bit, you're going to be able to notice that I mentioned about them having kind of that dark tinge at the bottom of their magistrate emblem. You're going to notice that it's a little bit smoother down there, which means it's probably started to wear a little bit. So they've definitely been a little bit exposed at some point or another. It's difficult to say when they were exposed, because this could be some taint that was left over from maybe like the last thing they did before coming here, or it could be from here. But you would be able to do stuff like sense and commune to be able to find more answers. However, if there is dark kami in the area, communing may not be the best plan.
Communing is literally talking to the spirits, and sensing is just kind of, I forget exactly what sensing does.
Is kind of feeling out the area without necessarily establishing communication with them. If you were to sense and there were dark kami in the area or dark spirits, there is a chance that they may retaliate against you because that's what dark spirits do. If you commune, there's a really strong chance that they're going to do that.
I will sense.
Okay.
Because that is a threat not to be taken.
I was going to say that it would be impolite to do it at the table with them,
Of course,
so I
yeah,
assume
sorry,
that you're probably
after
going to
I
leave. I mentioned that there is a temple, and the temple right now, it doesn't sound like anybody's going that direction. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is anybody else going to the temple?
I probably would, actually.
Okay. There is the temple, and when you arrive, Miyamoto-san is actually already there. Go ahead and tell me what you're doing in the temple, Miyamoto.
I am meditating.
Okay. So he'll be sitting probably in front of the water shrine to be able to get kind of the ambiance of that trickling water, and he'll be meditating quietly inside there.
Forgive me, Miyamoto-san. I would not want to disturb your meditations.
It is fine. It is fine.
Unfortunately, I have something I need to do in here.
It's like they'll like look back at you, it's like trying to gauge whether or not like you mean in private.
I do not need privacy. I just wish to make you aware.
They'll nod. It's like far be it from me to deny someone the ability to enjoy a temple.
I may not be enjoying it in a few moments. He kind of laughs and says that, which is a little weird, but he's a weird family, so, you know.
To be fair, having another person inside here, if there are dark kami, may not necessarily be a bad thing. So you are kind of lucky that he is actually here right now.
I am actually thankful for that. It also does, it should come across as strange that a scorpion is actively trying to make you aware of something.
Well, this entire time, Kaji hasn't said like much to anyone. He's just been very aloof and observing everyone.
Which, to be fair, that's how dragon typically are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, if you've been watching, like, particularly he's been watching both you and the Kaikita. You can probably guess the reasons for why.
Because we'll probably kill each other soon enough.
Maybe not, but sure, why not?
Hopefully not. No, I don't think we will. Alright, sense commune. What exactly? Okay, how am I doing that exactly?
Okay. For casting a spell, I gave you guys some cheat sheets, and inside there it should tell you how to cast a spell,
that's right. Yes.
which I believe is on the second page.
Spells
check
in
here.
between research interrupt concentration.
I'm sorry, it's on the first page.
Okay. Importune? Concentration?
Let's see. We're going to say that, yeah, it is a importune, which is going to be 15 plus 5 times the mastery ring.
So,
for
20.
commune, it's 1, so yeah, 20 is going to be the target number you're shooting for.
I'm just gonna go for sense. I didn't mean commune.
Okay.
So,
They're both level 1, so that's fine.
as a universal ring, it's whatever is... Alright.
Yeah, it's a universal ring of 1, which means that it's still going to be the 20 for any basic
Yep.
on there. Would you like to call any sort of raises before you roll?
No, he's just kind of feeling out the area.
Okay.
Because it's universal, am I using the lowest of all the rings, or...?
No, you can use your higher ring. Whatever ring you would
Okay.
like to use in this situation, basically.
I'm gonna use fire.
Okay.
It's my high one.
That'll
So
kind
3.
of dictate what spirits you talk to. Remember, each spirit talks a little bit differently.
Okay.
Fire spirits can be tricksters, as a fair warning. And they usually talk to you through expressive dance, which is kind of strange. There is a water spirit shrine here. Water spirit shrines typically show you things that have happened in the area, and they can't talk, they can just show you images, and that's sometimes helpful. Earth spirits are usually more ponderous, but they're a little bit blunt, and they speak a little bit slower, but they're very, very truthful. So earth spirits are usually pretty good to go to. Air spirits can be a little flighty. Essentially, they will give you the answers you're looking for, but you kind of have to play their game. Like, they may ask you questions that you have to answer before they answer your questions for you.
Can I commune twice? Or
Yes,
sense
you
twice?
can. It'll just take time, is all.
Yeah, I don't think I'm worried about time right now. Do we know when the sumo match is happening?
You unfortunately don't.
Okay, then I'll go for water first.
Okay.
So it's
You know that since there's a shrine here, it would actually be best to do it in front of the shrine. It will give you a little bit of advantage. Essentially, you're going to get a free raise by doing it at the shrine.
which lowers the target by 5,
Uh-huh.
if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Or you
I will
can
politely
keep the target number 20 and take the free raise as a bonus.
get like a bonus thing.
Okay.
I'll get yeah. I'll actually do the bonus.
Okay. So the target number you're shooting for is 20. Did you roll inside here? Perfect, 30. Okay. So with your raise, you're going to get a little bit more from them. The water spirits will come out, and they take the form of, because they'll kind of come out of the water, and they'll take the form of 2 very small, like, dragons that will kind of dance around each other, and then they'll kind of, like, twist into this kind of a, almost like a twisted snake kind of pattern, and then they'll put their heads facing towards the center, and they'll breathe out, and this, like, aqueous ball will form in the center, and that's where you're going to actually see the images. You know that when you commune with spirits like this, you can basically ask them questions, and water spirits will show you images to answer your questions. So what would you like to ask them? I think
We
you're
can't hear
muted. I think his headset might be malfunctioning. Let's see if we got him now. Maybe not. Okay, let's do this then. Miyamoto, this is one of the few times that you've seen somebody sort of commune with the spirits. Do you have any sort of reactions that you would like to do to this sort of thing? Because you are going to see the two little like serpentine dragons come out of the water, twist, and make that ball.
I would actually think that I'd be relatively familiar with this because Dragon Clan especially, are closer to the spirits than most other clans. So even a Bushi like myself has probably seen something like this before.
You've seen similar stuff, yes. The way the yoga goes about it is a little bit different, and so it is kind of piqued your interest because your clan is kind of naturally more attuned to the spirits. Pretty much every clan has different ways that they go about it. Like when he conjures them to commune with them, he actually takes out an old paintbrush and he writes letters in the air. Like he's not actually painting anything, and then they'll come up from the water like that. And it's kind of a unique technique that you've never seen before.
Interesting.
Do we have Nate back now?
No.
So maybe. Okay, we got a chat here. Apparently not. Well, if you would like to type it, I can answer your questions like that. And then we'll get your headset working just after that.
Regardless, I will basically just be watching him out of the corner of my eye.
Okay.
Part of the reason why I wanted to stay while he was doing this, I'm going to watch everything.
Nate, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Because I think you can hear. Okay, perfect. It's just a question of talking at the moment.
Use the camera mic.
Okay, so his first bit is he's going to ask about the presence of any darker spirits in the area, or any sort of dark kami. Okay, it says here that he thinks he cut out when he was asking this, but he was asking if Miyamoto would join him in front of the water shrine. So you don't need to kind of like peek out of the corner of your eye. He's actually invited you over to kind of sit with him while he talks to the spirits.
Alright, sure.
Okay. So you're asking about the presence of any darker spirits in the area. The ball in front of you will turn into an image of like storm clouds, and it will like do kind of a fog looking thing, and it will go black. And then you'll see a little bit of light, and it looks like a candle almost in the center of the ball, but it's very distant. And that's kind of the answer they come back with for you. You can ask multiple questions since you have a raise. I'll give you 3 questions if you'd like. Okay, it looks like he's kind of thinking about it. Since your mic is not working at the moment, what I'm going to do is quickly shift to Kikita. If you type in your next question, I'll come back to you and answer that one. Perfect. Alright, so for Kikita Toshiro, you are inside the room, and you kind of go to your chair or your bag, and you retrieve the bigger painting that you have for your honored host. The lion will eventually come back in, and he has a very small clay jar with him, and you recognize it immediately as kind of a commoner's sake. And he will sit down inside his prescribed bedding area there, and he will start making his bed, and he set it on the table next to his.
How fast did he come? Because I actually wanted to talk to the earth spirits.
Not fast
That's
enough
why
for you
I
to
left
be able to.
early.
Okay, not fast enough for you to be able, or not fast enough to stop you from talking to the earth spirits, I should say.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and do talking to the earth spirits then.
Okay. So, commune. My commune check is a... Looks like... Doesn't say.
The commune's going to be a target number of 20. And if you'd like to add raises, you can.
Nope. I got exactly 20.
Okay, perfect. So you'll start communing, and you... Oops. I think we lost your camera. Wait a minute.
About that, I accidentally pressed delete on my keyboard.
Okay. I was going to say, I hope we don't have too many technical issues now. So you'll commune with the earth spirits, and the room you get is a room that actually has floorboards to kind of show you it's a castle. So for you to commune with the earth, you kind of hear like this muffled sound, and it's underneath the little matting that's on the ground for this room, and it's like, and you can recognize where it's coming from, but it sounds like a yawn that's being blocked by like a mat.
I'll move the map.
Okay. When you move the mat, you see this it almost looks like a boil. It's not a very big earth spirit at all. It's just this little lump of dirt, and
Yeah.
he looks at you and he goes, I thought a Kuni was calling for me.
I did go to the Kumi school. Oh, great earth spirit.
Kunis are very respectable. What can I do for you? And he kind of like squints, and you can see the earth spirit start to kind of lean forward, and he goes, Kakita. I knew a Kakita once.
What was
Well,
his name?
A friend of a friend.
What was the name?
He was a great duelist, but I don't recall his name. I am quite old, unfortunately. My mind has kind of slipped from me with age.
My father did travel through this castle once with a Kuni. His name was Isamu.
There is an Osamu to the south. He's quite revered and respected amongst my kind.
I'm aware I'm trying to find him, but that is not the reason why I commune with you today.
What can I help with?
I have certain suspicions about Lord Otomo.
Otomo.
Mm-hmm. He is displaying signs of taint.
He kind of like breathes in deep, and he goes, Yes, Otomo does, but not far gone. He has given himself to something.
Well,
There's still hope for him.
I am aware that they called Emerald Magistrates, though I left before they arrived at dinner. They were supposed to have joined us, but unfortunately,
Yes. They didn't. Yes, I met two of them. Nice children.
Two.
Yes, Phoenix. Too flighty for my taste, but nice children.
Can I ask what they wanted to know?
They asked
May
about
I?
the land and how it was feeling.
How is the land feeling?
Quite good. But the people who walk upon me are sad.
I'm aware.
It will not bode well. If something is not done to improve their mood, the earth will share it, and the crops will be bad.
All is interconnected. I thank you, Earth Spirit. Please, take a long rest. Is there anything you require?
Yes. There is a small rice paddy just outside the castle to the south. The villagers have been trying to keep it alive, but with the restrictions on water, unfortunately it hasn't grown as well as it should be. If you could convince the Lord Otomo to ease back on those restrictions, it would help the people greatly.
I will see what I can do. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and flash over to Yogo because he's got his second question here. What were the Emerald Magistrates doing before they joined us for dinner? And he says that he's doing all of this with a mask on for the dragon's sake to remain polite. So the water will show an image of the two phoenix, and they okay, perfect. So the water will show an image of the two phoenix, and they are dancing around a large rock, and the water makes it look like the rock has characteristics and is kind of lifted off. Okay, looks like we're trying to fix the mic right now. Unfortunately, this was a brand new headset, and we're cracking it in today, so go figure.
I can do something quick if you want. I'm just going to walk around.
Yeah, let's go ahead
Grounds
and do that.
Where it's socially acceptable, just go out for a stroll,
Okay.
after meal stroll. But I'm going to spend the time looking at the furnishings, anything that's extravagant, out of the ordinary. Also, for your knowledge, I took one of my advantages as Sage, so pretty much every knowledge skill I have one rank in, if I don't have a rank in already, so just sort of whatever catches my eye.
Okay. Nate, you want to test that microphone real quick? We didn't hear anything. Nope. All right. Okay, so you are kind of walking the grounds, exploring, and taking in kind of the scenery. There's a lot of new stuff here. Go ahead and give me a... I'm going to say etiquette check.
Ooh, okay.
This is to maintain your etiquette while you travel through the castle and kind of snoop.
Okay.
Because there are going to be people that are through the castle that could see this, and it could be frowned upon, basically.
$22.
Okay, perfect. So, you are able to kind of go through the corridors, and you make it look like you're kind of taking in things and like nodding at paintings and, you know, doing proper etiquette things as you go about. Nobody seems to think anything differently about what you're doing. Okay, looks like we're going to lose Nate for a second, so our pictures here are going to shift for a little bit while he resets his stuff for Roll20 here.
Back.
Yep. So, as you travel through, there is definitely some... I'm just going to shift us over to this one for now. That way we don't have the nameplates all screwy. So, as you travel through the castle, you're going to notice that there's a lot of extravagant, lavish things, and they're all new things, too. Which is definitely a sign of like the wealth factor that he's got going on here. And you'll go down a path that you originally were kind of told not to, and you kind of make it look like it's a mistake because you are definitely snooping. And you'll come across a storeroom that's just packed with kokus of rice that are all just stacked up inside there, and it's not really a storage room. It's a room that they turned into a storage room because they must have so much extra rice. So it's definitely not a question of not having enough food.
Is this building where they keep the stores?
It's
first?
it's the Toshi Rambo castle, like the actual manor where you guys are staying. It's one of the rooms inside there.
Okay.
And after you kind of peek in there and you see it, one of the guards will politely kind of guide you back to the main area and basically apologize for you not being informed, but that hallway is dangerous, that it's been trapped and things like that. And he'll just apologize to you over and over until you pretty much tell him it's okay, because he's basically a peasant with a spear.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, that painting over there caught my eye. I could not resist.
He goes, "Oh, I know which one you speak of. Yes, it is. It is actually quite a lovely painting. It was given to us from the Dragon Clan. I forget. Unfortunately, I am not as cultured as someone of your stature. I fail to remember who the original artist was. Perhaps I can get the Lord Onamo to guide you through the house and show you all the different paintings if you'd like."
I should be seeing him soon. I will request it of him myself. There are many great pieces here.
Oh, yes, yes, C-sama. We appreciate your compliment to the household, and he'll bow very deeply to you, almost too deep, to be honest, because he's really nervous. Like I said, he's basically a peasant with a spear. He's not a bushi or anything like that. He's just one of the regular piddly guards.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what you're going to get from kind of wandering around, is finding out a little bit of stuff like that. Let's go ahead and go over to Dietrich.
Mm-hmm.
So, Komori Dietrich, what would you like to do?
Funny enough, I'd like to do a lot of what C did, but I don't have etiquette at all. But I will. The places that
I was going to say,
completely...
if I remember right, you have a couple low skills if you want to use those and hope you don't get caught.
Yeah. What is it?
You can stealth around, is what I'm saying, but if you get
Yes,
caught, you will lose honor.
I know. I'm not idiotic to just stealth. At least not without direct reasoning. And definitely not in the middle of the day.
Okay.
Because it's not nighttime, right?
It's evening. You guys had your evening meal, so it's like the sun's setting and torches are being brought out to the courtyard. Since you're kind of walking around, you can see that the sumo ring is being prepared. And the sumo stable has been brought forward. So there's like 8 big sumos that are inside the courtyard right now that are kind of like stretching, warming up, saying their prayers and lighting incense around the ring and everything.
That's what I figured as much.
It's actually quite unique to watch, since it's something that you're not intimately familiar with yourself.
True. I will walk around the grounds, a lot of the open areas that, I know for a fact I'm allowed to be. That includes around the sumo ring, the training pond, and such. I will, though I will take note of I will shift my eyes every now and then, of course, to try to look down as I'm going through the manor itself. Through the hallways, I'm not supposed to go down, but I won't go down them. I'll just look down them, try to see if I can glance any details, get any information from that.
Okay. Since it's evening, you're going to notice that there are more guardsmen patrolling, and like I mentioned to Brennan earlier, or C earlier, is that a lot of these guards are actually like the standard peasants with pikes and spears and stuff. It's not anything too fancy. In fact, most of them carry yaris, which are like the cheap spears that you can get. There are a few bushi that are wandering the halls that are wearing very light armor, and they are wearing their katanas, but they are definitely like the house's bushi. Let's go ahead and see if we got Nate back on a microphone now.
Do we have me back?
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, so let's go back to your question real quick. What were the Emerald Magistrates doing before they joined us for dinner? All of this with the mask on, of course, for the dragon's sake. So the little pool of water that you're watching between the two dragons, the dragons will snap and like close the pool of water, and then they'll like start swimming around, and they'll kind of face each other, and then it looks like they're kind of wrestling, and they'll go into like this infinite loop kind of shape, and then that infinite like infinity symbol will kind of like smush down into its own like disc right above the water. And then on the disc you'll actually see what looks like at first it kind of looks like women that are dancing around a rock, and after a few moments you kind of realize that it's the two phoenix Shugenja that are dancing. Because they have long hair and stuff like that. That's why the water spirits were a little confused as far as genders. The rock will have a face on it after a little bit, and it looks like they're dancing to the rock, and the rock is enjoying it. Which you can take that the way you want. Water spirits are a little weird in how they explain things, so... After the dance is over, the two phoenix that you've been able to identify from this pool of water will bow to the rock, and then they'll turn and join their friends, and it looks like they are bowing and dancing with their friends afterward. And you have one more question as well. If you'd like to think about that, we can shift a view over to Kikita again.
Yeah, he'll just. Hey, I'm gonna think about it for a second. I'll figure out how to word it.
For Kikita, now the lion will enter the room, and he'll have that little porcelain jar of peasant cheap sake, and he'll go sit on his bed, and he'll unroll it, and he'll put the porcelain sake jar right in front of his katana and wakizashi. After he's got everything prepped, he'll actually take his katana and wakizashi and put them into his obi, and he'll walk out of the room with that little jar of sake unless you say anything to him.
Nope.
Okay.
Eventually, I plan to get up out of the room as well and head to find the Phoenix Magistrates.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go over to the shrine again. Do you have an idea of what your last question would be? You don't have to ask a question, of course. It's up to you.